All right, folks, it is October 31st, or here in the States, Halloween, and all along those lines. And of course, Halloween is celebrated in other parts of the world as well, but it is definitely a holiday that is observed around the United States and all along those lines. So that is what's going on. I might even put up some Halloween banners later on and all along those lines since they were offered going on in the world. Apparently, a attack was taking place, but it sounds like a terrorist attack was about to take place in the area and all along those lines. So that was one of the news stories that I did see that folks were talking about and that folks were paying attention to, and all in that kind of way. So it's always good to see when things are thwarted that might cause a serious problem and all along those lines. So yes, it was reported by some of the folks in the news and all along those lines. So definitely we'll hear about whether there are other attacks. And of course, people are trying to be safe during these holiday seasons and all along that kind of way. So definitely we'll hear more about that. Trump urges the GOP to end the shutdown by going nuclear on Senate filibuster. So GOP Senator firm no on Trump's call to eliminate filibuster. So Trump calls on Republicans to end filibuster in shutdown fight. And Trump says Senate should scrap the filibuster to end the government shutdown. But apparently that's not going to happen. And millions face huge sticker shock on when ACA open enrollment starts on November 1st, which will be on Saturday. Obamacare sticker shock is more shocking in some states than others. So definitely we'll see what's going on in that as insurance premiums are about to rise, and that might be even impacting the founder of our network's business and all along those lines. So we'll find out more about that in a minute. Trump says he wants to resume nuclear testing. So Trump stuns with a call to nuclear tests, and definitely we'll see more about that. And California Governor Gavin Newsom pans Trump's nuclear testing directive, weakness masquerading as strength. And judge says she'll likely order Trump administration to send SNAP funds to states. A judge is set to decide whether SNAP benefits can be cut off on Saturday. So Saturday is another deadline day in the sense of SNAP and not just with the health care as well. So judge questions the Trump administration's plan to suspend SNAP benefits for millions. Nebraska DHHS posts questions for political message on public agency website. So definitely we'll see how this is all going on. And like I said, they're saying the government shutdown is likely to extend to next week as the Senate is adjourning. So it looks like when is the next vote on the government shutdown? It might not be for another week or two, which would then make it, I think, probably break the record for the longest shutdown and all along those lines. But definitely we're still in the middle of this shutdown that's going on. MCO expecting over 4-hour flight delays on Thursday due to staffing issues. So air controller shortage causes delay in Orlando and at other major airports. Fewer flight delays, cancellations on Friday at MCO after staffing issues. And Illinois lawmakers approve a $1.5 billion legislative package to enhance their mass transit. So Illinois lawmakers passed public transit funding bill to address RTA budget gap. So definitely it looks like they're going to be having this money to fund CTA, Metra, and PACE. So they're going to try to have a little bit better mass transit in the Illinois area. And UN Human Rights Chief says U.S. strikes on alleged drug boats are unacceptable. So U.S. boat strikes are spreading fear across the Caribbean. And the Department of Defense can't say who it killed in military strikes against drug smugglers. So even the Atlantic is saying strike first, explain later. And some folks are asking, why is the shutdown gone 31 days? And there are even some folks that are looking at Mark Warner. So the Virginia senator says Trump must come to the table on health care as federal workers ask for relief. So definitely that's something going on as we still got this shutdown that is taking place. It is now in the 31st day and everything like that. Trump returns to White House in time to greet trick-or-treaters. So Trump puts candy on trick-or-treaters' head at a Halloween event, and Donald and Melania Trump dress up for Halloween as themselves. So apparently the White House opened South Lawn to trick-or-treaters for Halloween celebrations with the Trumps. So I guess they didn't get them up in costumes. They just came out as themselves, but they did offer candy and everything like that. Government shutdown offers schools a glimpse of life without an education department. So that's something that's being reported as well. And two men die in a basement flooding as sudden downpour hit the New York area. So definitely that was going on as two die in New York City basements as the squall brought massive rain burst to the city. So definitely the flooding killed two men after water inundated their basement. So definitely that's something that people are talking about as well. And, there's still the notion of whether Trump is toying with a third term. And there's even some folks like at The Guardian that are saying don't expect the Constitution to stop him. So even NPR is saying Trump keeps flirting with the idea of a third term. And even they're acknowledging that would be unconstitutional. And Trump dismisses 2028 VP run as too cute and leaves the door open to a third term. And Virginia governor race underlines future hopes for Democrats as Spanberger is apparently doing well. So Spanberger courts Trump voters in rural Virginia, and Democrats test a new playbook in Tuesday's election. Less talk of Trump, more focus on the economy. So apparently the Virginia governor's race has become a microcosm of national issues. So we'll see how this goes on. And by the way, Governor Gavin Newsom is turning the California election into possible 2028 platform. So Newsom trounces Republicans with $120 million Prop 50 campaign haul. So it looks like he got some good money to deal with Prop 50 and all along those lines. So that's some of the things that are going on from a United States perspective. We'll see what's going on in the world, including King Charles stripping his brother Andrew of Prince title and evicts him from the royal mansion. So Prince Andrew stripped of all titles after Virginia Giuffre's memoirs. So definitely King Charles managed his brother Andrew to protect the royal's name and all along those lines. So he's been stripped of his prince title and will have to move out of the royal lodges. And Samaritan's purses race to help Jamaica after Category 5 Hurricane Melissa destruction, letting them folks know in Jamaica they've not been forgotten. And Caribbean islands are reeling from Hurricane Melissa's devastating impact as storm heads north. So definitely Jamaica will bounce back from devastating storm is what the BBC is reporting. And Trump's big concession to Xi is loaded with red flags, according to the CNN. And definitely we'll see how folks are thinking about the Trump-Xi meeting and Trump-Lee's meeting with China, promising a tariff lowering and some near-term stability in their relationships. And executions and mass casualties, videos are showing horror unfolding in Sudan. So man shot by the hundreds disappeared after the Sudanese city falls to the paramilitaries, witnesses say. So Sudan's RSF is accused of a PR stunt after arresting fighters behind the civilian killings. So Sudan war takes a turn as the paramilitary forces capture Darfur, threatening to split the country. So definitely a lot's going on in that sense and along those lines. Ukraine destroys secret Russian Yurchenek missile system at Kapistan Yar. So the head of the SBU Malek, one of three nutcrackers, was successfully destroyed. So Russians have 6 of these type missiles left, Zelensky says, but they did destroy one of them in the summer of 2023, SBU says. So we'll see how this goes and whether they've got more of them and how this all goes as well. And Rob Jetton's Dutch centrist party, Liberal Party, wins neck-and-neck election race. So Rob Jetton celebrates the historic result as his centrist D66 party is projected to win the Dutch election. And cyclist falls down a 130-foot raven in France. Survives 3 days by drinking wine he had in a shopping bag. So he fell that long distance, and then he managed to survive by having the wine that he had in that shopping bag to get him through and everything like that. And protests in Tanzania spread after a disputed election with the military on the street. Tanzania election, protesters defy army chief in third day of unrest. More protests in Dar es Salaam after a chaotic Tanzanian election. Opposition say hundreds killed in Tanzania post-election protests. And Rio favelas left reeling after lethal gang raid as police bury the dead. So that's something going on in Latin America. And all along those lines, and Xi delivers a veiled warning to nations not to take the U.S.'s side. So Trump's exit is Xi's cue to take center stage at the APEC. So China's Xi takes center stage at APEC and meets leaders as Trump snubs the forum. So China's Xi is promising to protect free trade at APEC, as Trump apparently is not going to that major event. As we reported yesterday, French police arrest 5 more in Louvre jewel heist investigation. So the Louvre heist suspects have admitted involvement in jewel theft. So definitely that's something going on as well. And Israel's ultra-Orthodox staged a March of the Million against the military draft. So 200,000 ultra-Orthodox men blocked entry to Jerusalem in protest against serving in the IDF. So tens of thousands of ultra-Orthodox Jews protest the military draft in Jerusalem. So even in Jerusalem and Israel, there are some people that don't want to go into that particular war. So I've got Rick with me. I've also got Nick with me, and hopefully he'll be good all along those lines and all in that space. What kind of news stories are you paying attention to? And we'll have a little bit of fun here.
It's the 31st day of the shutdown, 4 days short of a record. I think people are due to lose SNAP benefits tomorrow, 1 American in 8. Also, everybody gets their insurance bills tomorrow if they're on Obamacare, and they get to see that jump up by like 150%. And
Yay.
So I guess a lot of pissed off people.
Yay. So then you're going to see unemployment surge because big companies have started to lay off people.
Yeah. So we're at 4.3. So we'll see.
We'll go over 5. I'm going 5 to 7, but it'll start going over 5.
But since the government shut down, we're not getting official numbers. Plus, Trump fired some of the numbers people. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, you're going to get fake numbers. But the thing is, there's a lot of think tanks out there. They'll start coming up with estimates, and the estimates will probably be over 5%.
Well, I don't know if immediately, but by the new year, maybe.
Yeah, by the new year for sure, but possibly even the next month or so. But I'm figuring it'll probably be next month. And then here's what will happen. The media will pick up on it because the media is slow. And they're going to say, we have a jobs crisis. We have an unemployment problem. And all of a sudden that's going to hit the roof. But something very interesting about these SNAP benefits that I've been reading about. Why are 42 million people on that? Some commentators say it's because of COVID. When COVID hit, people weren't going to work, so they ran and signed up for the government program. COVID went away, and they're still on the program. So what happens, you have 42 million people. I saw that number. I fell out of my chair. Are you serious? 42 million? I mean, you expect of a population of 330 million to have maybe 5 million people, maybe on SNAP benefits, 6, 8 at the most, 3 hopefully, which is like, 1% of the population. You're talking 42 million. So you guys have a serious problem over there. Something isn't working right to have 40
people are also being apparently very desperate because we know about the theft that was in the Louvre. And one of the other stories that I didn't get to is that apparently thieves stole more than 1,000 items from Oakland Museum in a brazen heist.
Another big museum, big-ish museum.
Yeah, but I think they got a couple of the people that have stolen those jewels out of the Louvre Museum.
I think the number of arrests might be up to 10 by now.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like they're going to get away with it, which is really odd because they certainly did a lot of time planning. And I don't know where they were going to sell them, who they're going to sell that to. You don't list, stolen jewels on eBay. So who's the ultimate buyer? It had to be the Russians, North Koreans, or somebody that just really doesn't care about the law and have no problem buying it. But it's not a very liquid asset. In other words, gosh, stealing jewels? Are you kidding me? What some people do is absolutely amazing. I mean, if you're smart enough to figure out how to steal jewels, don't steal the jewels. Go figure something else out.
So I looked up SNAP benefits, and in 2000, 6% of the U.S. population was receiving SNAP, and it peaked at 15% in 2013. Right now, we're at a little over 12%.
Right, which is way too high. I mean, the thing is, if you look at it, it's just way too. By the way, what is EBT? I keep seeing EBT, but I have
electronic, I don't know,
benefits transfer.
I think that's it has to do with food stamps. I have to look it up, but I know it has to do.
You get a little card. I think that you
get it. Yeah, it's like a credit card, but there's no
or a gift card. Yeah, and you scan it in at your point of purchase.
When I'm saying you have systemic problems, 42 million people shouldn't be on.
Well, so I saw another statistic that 70% of the people on SNAP are either working or are in school. So one of the things I see a lot is people bitching about companies like Walmart that pay a low wage, so much so that the people still qualify.
They still fall underneath it. It's corporate welfare, and that's what I'm saying. There's something systemically wrong.
Right, we're giving welfare to Walmart because we're paying people.
I understand that is a serious problem. By the way, Walmart has one of the great EPSS programs that people don't know about. I thought about going to Walmart employees and talking to each one of them and funding it. Okay, and people don't even know what that is. But I'll brief you what Walmart has. The employee stock participation program allows you to buy Walmart shares only if you're an employee at a 15% discount. Okay, every Walmart employee should be taking advantage of this. But here's the problem. They're too bloody broke to take advantage of it. Because think about it. Walmart's trading at 100 a share. You buy it at 85. You have to hold it for 6 months, but you make 15% in 6 months, assuming the stock doesn't go up.
That's great.
So my thought was, but I don't live in the United States, is to go talk to each one of the employees and say, look, I'm going to do a deal with you. I'll fund it. Okay. In other words, I'll give you the money to go buy this stuff, the stock, but participate in this bloody program. You're buying stock at a 15% discount and then split the profits with them, because you're going to make, you're basically making 15% a year rate of return plus whatever the stock market appreciates. And if it has to go below 15% for you to lose money. It's a heck of a deal. So why don't they do it? They're financially idiots. I mean, excuse me. There's no financial education.
There's no financial education, which you always talk about.
Money.
By the way, you asking the specific definition, and the EBT card is and I think unemployment card would fall in the same definition. It's an electronic benefits transferred card that is used to access programs and benefits from programs. So, like I said, they would put the money on the card, and then you would go to use it in your grocery store. So basically, a food stamp card.
Yeah. Okay. So it's an efficient way to basically pay for what they call benefits programs. But like I said, the U.S. economy, you got some systemically wrong problems, because this should not happen. The wealthiest country in the world. But part of it is also this: people are not trained to buy stocks. Sasha understands the advantage of buying stocks. Sasha even understands the advantage of buying covered calls. So Sasha sits in his room and prints money. The problem is the average person sits in their room and asks money to be handed to them, and Sasha does the same thing, but he does it differently. What you need to do is change the perception of how people think. Like I say, you got to buy Apple stock, not the latest Apple iPhone. And if you don't change that behavior, you're going to continue to create a culture of poverty.
Well, speaking of the culture, what are our thoughts around this notion that Trump wants to end the filibuster, which has been used by both Republicans and Democrats for decades and everything?
Okay, so there's a reason you don't blow up the filibuster, and it's called the nuclear option. And that's the fear of what the other party will do when they take over the Senate after an election and obtain control. So you get rid of right now you need 60 votes to pass something in the Senate, or else it gets filibustered, which basically freezes it. So you can't get away with, but if you lower the threshold to 51 votes, you can pass a lot more stuff. And each party is afraid of what the other party will do when next they have control of
another systemic problem. Like I said, the people are not taught to think for themselves. They think in terms of party. They're in a herd mentality. If they actually were independent thinkers, which obviously none of the Democrats and Republicans are, they would have no problem with passing stuff like that. But they're in the cow herds. I'm a Democrat. Ooh, I'm a Republican. Forget that stuff. Someday they need to grow up and say, look, I'm think for myself. I'm not going to affiliate with either one of these stupid parties, because you're basically buying into this groupthink mentality, which has been going on for decades. Oh, speaking of decades and problems, the tariffs. The Senate actually has apparently passed a bill to eliminate the tariffs on Canada and Brazil. It has to go through the House to wind through that. But finally, somebody in Congress is starting to do what they're supposed to do, which is to lead the country using legislation. So it's just, it's a really sad state of affairs that you have. You have one leader, Donald Trump. You have a bunch of cows and sheep and goats and, pigs. It's just disgusting. So sooner or later, you're hopefully the United States will find some leadership, because you have some very serious problems over there, and they're not being solved. They're not even being addressed. And we talked about it here, the homeless problem. That should be front and center on everybody's campaign. One reason your friend in New York is winning, Mark, is he made that the number one part of his campaign. He realizes that housing costs are off the charts in the U.S. So all he had to do is run to the number one issue, which is housing costs. And all of a sudden now he's the leader for the Democrats. What happened to the Republicans? Why are they so stupid not to realize that housing and food are really two pretty important fundamental things in the economy, which take precedence over all trans rights in the United States? People don't give a rat's rear about that, or LGBTQ, or all the other garbage that's thrown at people's doorstep. Because the thing is, if you're not eating and you're not sleeping well, who cares about the rest of those social issues? So I think he did a good job by grabbing that issue, and now he's holding on to it. If he holds on to the housing issue, he may win the election. The other thing that the United States needs to do, and just came out today, is you got to bring back this federal estate tax to cover the national debt. The data shows that they will transfer $125 trillion will be transferred from one generation to the next in the next decade or so. Well, that represents, if you get 50%, which it used to be a state tax, you collect 60 trillion. Let's say you don't even collect that, you collect half of it, 30 trillion. You just covered most of the national debt. There's absolutely no reason why the United States should not have a wealth tax or a death tax or a federal estate tax, and have it earmarked to cover the national debt. That would be something sane by both parties to do. I don't see either one of them doing it. So what's going to happen is there will be a recession or depression. The only question is when. Is it going to be next year? It's going to be year 2033 when the Social Security Trust Fund runs out of money. It will be 2033 when Medicare runs out of money. You tell me. My deadline was saying by 2033, the U.S. will experience a severe recession or depression. It just is going to happen. There's nothing that's going to stop it. It's like a hurricane. You see it coming. It's going to hit. And the leadership there's asleep at the wheel. They have absolutely.
Speaking of leadership, I would love to hear Sasha's thoughts around this as well. But apparently, you mentioned Brazil and you mentioned Canada, but apparently he's also backing off the tariffs in China because he's promising a tariff lowering and some near-term stability in their relationship, as Xi and Trump had a meeting and everything like that. So, what is our thoughts around these tariff lowerings?
Yeah, well, he made a deal with China. So the thing is, making the deal with China will mean, again, U.S. will be able to buy very cheap goods overseas. It doesn't help the United States at all because they're not manufacturing these goods. They'll all be manufactured in China. It does help China a lot. They are the manufacturing mechanism of the world. and they're going to continue to do it. Sent some of my sweaters in for dry cleaning. First thing I look, it's made in China. I'm going like, well, welcome to what's going on right now. Yeah, Sasha.
So far, there is a very little evidence about any deal with China whatsoever, because there is very little what China needs from US, and there is a lot what US needs from China. And US, by starting the tariff war, alienated almost all leading countries of the world. And with Canada, it's now complete collapse of any agreement, negotiations, or so on. And as a result of it, to see that their outer industry will be decimated by the trade policies of the United States. They now signing a deal with China where they will remove 100% tariffs on the Chinese electric vehicles. So there will be proliferation of China-produced electric vehicles. And in exchange, China is removing all tariffs on canola oil from Canada. So that shows you that Canada is becoming very reliable partner of the world in a world stage, including Asia, including China. And the US is not even near there. So US is now suffering from absolutely incredible moves. One of them just recently, look at this deal with Argentina, where they are. Look, I love Argentina. I love their soccer team. I love Lionel Messi. But what is my love would translate into $40 billion? Not that much. No, my love is worth maybe $10,000, but not $40 billion. I'll tell you that. So how you can justify? I still haven't heard any justification of the $40 billion to a country that competes with the United States on the soybeans business and everywhere else. And to add insult to injury, the U.S. now is buying incredible amounts of Argentinian beef, as there is not enough beef in the United States. I never heard about it. I heard an interview with one of the ranchers who are saying that the United States can supply to United States with their beef. And also, they don't need any subsidies. They don't need any help from U.S. government, except don't bring Argentinian beef here. What do you
Sasha, he's sending a message to the world. It's good to be friends with Donald Trump, because you're friends with Donald J. Trump. Your hands may be greased with $40 billion. That's what the message was being sent when he did that to Argentina.
Yeah, I think
if you do the math, that's the equivalent of sending $120 for every American man, woman, and child. So everybody in America loves Argentina $120 worth.
Yeah,
in addition to the soybeans and the beef.
Yeah, and he can't make any explanation on that and everything. I did have a slightly non-news question, but it's one that I know Sasha will enjoy and everything like that. So is Donald Trump going to have, and I also got to ask Rick as well since he's in that area, is Donald Trump going to have a fit when Toronto wins the World Series and everything along those lines?
No,
because it looks like that might be happening because they're up 3-2. All they got to do is win today or tomorrow.
We don't know. There was a tweet that came out from Trump saying that neither team is invited to the White House, but 2 days later that was revealed to be a fake tweet. But if the Dodgers pull it out, well, the Toronto, I don't know that Canadian teams get invited to the White House. But if the Dodgers pull it out, there's some question as whether they probably won't get invited because they probably won't come. The Dodgers already had a little mini showdown with ICE at Dodger Stadium. ICE wanted to use the parking lot for ice staging, and the Dodgers said no.
I
So
think
he's
around the team, even if invited, probably will decline the invitation anyway.
yeah. So yeah, they're not going to the White House.
Yeah, they're not going to the White House. I want to hear what Dr. Sharif has got going on in his part of the world. But before I get to that and everything, the other thing I got to tease you about on a lighthearted note and everything is apparently, because I know that you've got a nice collection of certain liquors and everything, Sasha, and everything. Apparently, you can survive a fall in the French Ravine, because that's what the person that fell in the French Ravine said. That the only reason they survived is that they had a bottle of wine that they were keeping with them, and that wine got them through the fall and everything like that. So I'm thinking that you probably, if you were on a trip, would have something in a bottle as well, so you might be able to protect yourself just like this man did, because they were saying that that's the only reason that they survived, was they had a bottle of wine in a bottle when they fell a massive amount of distance and everything like that. So I'm thinking you and Rick probably could survive, and maybe even Sharif. Sharif might have some wine in his house.
No, I stay off of mountains now. I had a bad experience when I was a kid. So
What happened when you were a kid?
my friends and I climbed Long's Peak in August, and I hadn't been up there, and I thought, well, it's August, so I just wore my jean jacket, and then it started to rain, and then I got altitude sickness, and then I got hypothermia, and my friends found me kind of just like mumbling to myself, and they had to pitch a tent. They had to grab me, take me into the tent, strip me down, lie on top of me to bring me back. So,
Wow. Well, this cyclist fell 130 foot, fell down 130 foot Reagan. That is not a short fall, but they survived 3 days by drinking that wine that they had. So maybe that's what they needed to survive.
Actually, I'd like to notice that in Canada, liquor, wines, everything is sold in specialized liquor stores.
Mm-hmm.
They're owned by Canadian corporation and so on. Although lately there are some stores that are allowed to sell beer and wine, but it's still in LCBO, so-called Liquor Ontario Board. Anyway, so there are now a lot of shelves where it used to be sold. They go by section, for example, Italian wine, French wine, Argentinian wine, liquors from different countries. USA section, empty shelves, not even a single bottle, and a big sign, buy Canadian instead, period. It's in all provinces, starting from British Columbia to Quebec and to maritime provinces and everywhere else. So this is how U.S. benefits, quote unquote, from Trump's tariffs policy. Period.
Well, apparently Trump benefits by getting a lot of gifts, because apparently he got a crown and he got some weapons and he got some apparently some dancers performed for him. He had gifts.
Let me go back to liquor for a sec.
Yes.
The percentage of people who drink in America is at an all-time low, except maybe for prohibition. That in 2023, 62% of Americans, adults, reported drinking. It's down to 58%. And this is part of a trend of Gen Z. Younger generations are pulling back from everything, from sex, from coupling up, from having babies, because we're more and more involved with our tech, and less and less involved with the old school pleasures of the world.
Hey, Nick, I got a question for you and everything.
I was just going to jump in real quick, because I came in at a bad time, and I see we're on a serious note and everybody's serious. So at this moment, I'm going to break everything up, because it's going to be kind of funny. Because when I came in, and knowing who Rick is, knowing what Rick and I talk about, and talking about sex and babies and naked ladies, when I came in, Rick was talking about somebody laying on top of him, and that's all I caught. And so where my mind went, we were talking about.
Yeah, that was.
I'm glad I kept quiet and listened, that it was more of a serious note. because what I heard, I came in and the first thing I hear, I woke up and somebody laying on top of me to wake me up. Okay,
Yeah, you were here. Your mind was going into the gutter and everything like that.
it
But
is
that's okay.
Freaky Friday on
It is-
Halloween.
It
But
is
woo,
Freaky
we-
Friday and it is Halloween, and I've been putting up some of these different banners just for the fun of it and everything like that. But Nick, I got a question for you and everything like that. Since you are a proud royal, you say you are a proud royal and everything like that. So, what is this whole banishing of Prince Andrew is going to do with the royal family and everything? Are they going to start banishing other people as well? Because apparently these memoirs came out and they just said, "Hey, we're going to banish Prince Andrew. He is no longer a royal. He's no longer a prince, and he's going to have to." He's been evicted from his royal mansion, so they're going like, "You got to get out of here. I'm sorry, you're not a royal anymore."
Yeah, that's way too bad, isn't it, Mark? That does happen. That happened to my ancestors. They got banished in the Battle of Dunbar. Got rolled
What's
over.
crazy
What
is
what can you do? Well, welcome to royalty. Yeah,
what's
yeah, right.
crazy is the FBI said that 100 girls and young women were victimized in the Epstein sex ring, and besides the dead guy Epstein, the former Prince Andrew is the only guy to have suffered consequences from the sex ring that went on for 2 years. He gets caught, he gets off with a slap on the wrist, and it goes on for another, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. So one woman is in prison for it. One guy's dead, and one guy doesn't get to be prince anymore. Yet 1,000 women had their lives wrecked by sexual predators. It's freaking crazy.
Well, the saddest part of the whole thing, and which I think because of what happened with Prince Andrew or with Andrew now,
Right.
him being held accountable, and nobody here is being held accountable. Matter of fact, an individual that should have been held accountable got made president. So it's I'm hoping, and it looks like there's starting to be another groundswell of trying to get people to be held accountable because of what happened with Andrew. And hopefully that'll happen. That'll keep going here.
So Nick can comment on this, but like some of the dynamics of how these women got roped into this, and girls, is Palm Beach has some very rich areas and some pretty poor areas. And they would, groomers and predators, they look for easy marks. And so they would invite these poor girls into the world of richness and a fantastic island. And the girls thought they might make some real money, not being sexually molested, but by doing like legit work of some sort. And so with 1,000 girls roped into this, you not only have the girls who have lifetime trauma from the sex part, you have girls who probably have trauma because they were urged to invite their friends into that world. So the girls were used to recruit, and the whole thing is just icky as heck.
Yeah, it's very icky. Speaking of icky and everything along those lines, what is our thoughts? And this is for everybody, and maybe even Dr. Sharif will have some thoughts as well. But apparently, the current president says that he wants to resume nuclear testing. And I know that sometimes people are like, don't worry about nuclear bombs. They won't happen. And if they do happen, a certain amount of people will die, but maybe some of us will survive and everything like that. But what is the notion around him?
It's freaking crazy and stupid. Now, Putin is claiming he's got a new supersonic missiles that go super fast, can't be intercepted. And the trouble with reacting to that is missiles already can't be intercepted. That there's a movie out called A House of Dynamite, which shows what happens if you launch even one nuclear missile. That we have interceptor missiles, but they only have one interceptor missile has a 60% chance of hitting the missile fired at your country and knocking it out, which means you have to fire multiple missiles, like 5, to have a 98% chance of knocking out a nuclear missile and saving a city from being blown up. You need to fire 5 of these missiles. The trouble is we only have 44 defensive missiles. So if a country launches more than 5 or 6 nukes, 2 of them are going to get through at least. So already it's impossible to, or really difficult to knock out. So the idea that we're getting into an arms race again because of a new missile is stupid.
So
Well-
the even dumber thing is the fact that all these tests, because he is just thinking of the whole power dynamic of seeing stuff blown up. There was actually I saw a show with one of his individuals that used to work for him before, and he is fantasized about blowing stuff up. And that's what he wants to do because he sees that as a show of strength. These tests can be run in simulation and don't have to actually happen. And that's the thing, is that's what's been done in the past, is they've been run in simulation.
Well, US is losing its world dominance in finance, in technology, in every aspect. So how they can remain the leader of the free world and not so free world or whatever, they have to prove that they can do something extraordinary that no other country can do. And since it cannot impose its will on other nations with Star or with international trades or financial engineering or just almost anything, there is nothing. There is nothing. All these books, whether US will be superpower by the 2040, how about 2025? What makes US superpower today? Nothing. So they have to do something extraordinary to shake everybody. It doesn't matter that Russia and China can do their own nuclear tests, but US is first. They did their nuclear tests. Okay, here is in Pacific Ocean one, here is in Arctic Ocean one, here is a nuclear test, one after another after another. Okay, then China will repeat the same thing, and Russia will do probably something. Okay, so, but US is first. US is on top of it. US started it, and US doing more than anybody else. This is US superpower. That's how they prove that they are.
Yeah, well, I hate to disagree with my esteemed colleague from Canada, but the U.S. is still a superpower. It has a GDP of about 30 trillion. The number 2 country is China with 20 trillion. We have 5,000 nuclear weapons. Russia has 5,000. The European Union has 500. So like it or not, the U.S. is still the big mouth, as they would say in Yiddish, whether you like it or not.
With your great
Canada is just having their feelings hurt because they've been recognized for the dinky little country that they really are with a big land mass. But
if we have a nuclear exchange, Canada is the one North American country that maybe survives because you guys have all that wilderness to the north, and all of Canada can haul ass north to avoid the belts of fallout.
Yeah, but there's no one who lives there. I mean, I've flown over that many times, and all it is lakes and empty marshes. It's like the Siberian outpost. No one lives in that part of Canada.
Yeah, but that's
no
the point. That's the point, because as Rick is talking about, and honestly, as global warming continues, that's actually where people are going to have to go. So saying that there's nobody there just means that there's space where I can move into. So it's not a complete.
Yeah, you live in currently a cold frozen tundra is most of their landmass. That's what it is. And their population isn't big.
Due to rising temperatures, California. Those areas will become more livable because right now temperatures are rising.
That's been my argument. So that's who cares about climate change. Just go to Canada. I'm going to buy some property in Scotland. And I go, it's cold there. That's the reason I wouldn't buy it. But guess what? Because of global warming, Scotland will be nice. So I don't have a problem with it.
So, I mean, Canada is actually a great country as well. Canada is a really great country. They have a lot of great things going on there, especially, I mean, even in their fusion technology and some other healthcare things. So Canada's a great country. Saying it's a deep country is actually a bad thing.
Plus, Canada has underground cities. Edmonton, I think Calgary, they've dug pedestrian tunnels. So in the middle of winter, when it's minus 15, you don't have to go outside.
Yeah, because it's cold. So they'll survive the nuclear holocaust because they'll be underneath the ground.
Yeah.
And also, I will point out, I will have to say that Trump did not get his idea for his underground bunker up under the trashy ballroom from Canada, even though Canada has some technology underground. No, he got it from Germany, historical Germany. If you look up who did it first with that idea and where he's getting many of these ideas from. Mark, did you bring up the cutting of the refugee program that he's doing to fit in that whole thing as well?
I did not, but go ahead and bring it up.
Where Donald Trump is cutting down from, I think it was 120,000 refugees that we could accept
125.
down to 75,000. And
No, 7,500.
Oh, yeah. 7,500. And those are to be white people from South Africa, or the majority of them are supposed to be white Africans.
Trump thinks that white people in South Africa are an oppressed minority. So he's making it so he's cut the number of refugees, that is people fleeing from political strife, from 100 by almost 95%, and the remaining 7,500 people, most of those allowed in will be poor, oppressed white people from South Africa.
And think of that visual. You're deporting brown people, coming in with the military and attacking brown people, putting brown people in these, just kidnapping them, and even citizens, having them come out naked in the middle of the night, but then saying, "Hey, these white people can come in."
Yep, I hear you.
What does that say?
Yeah, that's not a good. Not a good look. We got Steve here and everything. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm late. Middle of the campaign for Tuesday's elections. But I think this is really interesting. I think that I really agree with Jacoby here. I mean, I think it's so hypocritical to say you're gonna target brown people and black people, but then people from New Zealand or Norway or South Africa can come in. I mean, at the end of the day, honestly, I think one of the problems the United States has faced is that we're not really looking at the reasons why people are fleeing. Normally refugees are coming in seeking asylum, political asylum, where they're facing persecution, torture, and there's not enough resources to accept all these people coming in. But the situations are so bad, they don't have anywhere else to go. And so I think from the foreign policy perspective, why are we not seeing more? We're giving Venezuela money when we should be out there trying to figure out a way to get this dictator out, because he's just hurting the people of Venezuela. I went to Venezuela 25, 30 years ago when it was a democracy. I lived there for a few months. It was amazing. And so when the situation is that bad, people are coming. So, but this doesn't do anything to solve the immigration issue. I mean, I think that, you could have different, I mean, we've talked about this ad nauseum, but I think this is just, it's political gamesmanship. It's using immigration as a political football. It's obviously working for the Republicans, but I hope these moderates out there, if there are any left, even in the Republican Party, including Tom Tillis, our U.S. Senator, is to fight this. I mean, he doesn't have to worry about running again. But, I mean, everyone else is so worried about running again. They're agreeing because they don't want Trump to primary them, right? Meanwhile, China's calling for free trade. I find that interesting. Z is now saying he wants world markets to be free. So, I mean, looks like he's kowtowing a little bit to Trump. So.
No, I don't think he's kowtowing. What he's doing is he's filling the void that Trump created.
Yeah,
because we're supposed to trade war, and now they're saying, "Hey, look, this is how you built and became this world leader and world dominator in the trade world and in the economic industry, because we're number one, and we keep yelling that we've been taken advantage of when we're still dominating the world. But now, because of what Trump is doing, the dollar value is dropping, and she is coming in. Hey, look, hey, come here, trade with me." So he's filling that void, and that's going to hurt him.
This push for whiteness in America, one way of looking at it is a last gasp of the white majority, because the U.S. is on track to become a minority majority nation in the early 2040s. That is, whitey will be less than 50% of the total population, which is already the case in some great American states. California, whites are less than 50%. Texas, Florida, Georgia, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and then some other states are borderline that. New York, your state, North Carolina, Virginia, Illinois, and those states work great in a lot of ways, but whitey is shitting his pants because he doesn't get to have as much control as he used to.
Rick, is that part of the reason? Hold on a second, Rick.
For Halloween, I'm going to be a white man.
I hear you.
I'm white. I'm white. It feels great. It feels great.
I mean, that is the sad reality
It
that
feels
we're
great
going through right now.
I don't care. We're all the same, white, brown, blue. I love all of you.
Well, that's the sad reality that we're living in, and we don't want to address that sad reality because
Can we get Sasha? I want to. It's so good seeing you, Sasha. Sasha, can you give us a little opinion of what you think? It's good to see you, my friend. Happy Halloween.
Likewise. What was the question, Steve?
I mean, what do you think of all of this, Sasha? I mean, you're a smart man. I mean,
all of it. Okay.
And you're a white man, Sasha. I think you're white.
Well, he's the whitest guy on the panel.
By the way, do you remember the old movie by what's his name? Steve Martin, by his name The Jerk.
Oh yeah.
When he was asked how you became so successful, how did you do that? He said, "Well, I was born a poor black child, and then I studied and I learned, and then I became a rich white kid." That's how he did it. Well, listen, the last the summit of U.S. and China, it showed Trump like a sophisticated beggar who was jumping and moving around Xi. He was trying to hold him in his hands, but he couldn't do it. So he was listening to every his word. He was trying to shake his hands as many times as possible. He was praising what this guy has so much wisdom, and he's just fantastic human beings and so on. Now, with all that flattery and hour and a half, what did America actually achieve on this meeting? Any signed documents, any joint press conference, just anything, just something. Give me something. Give me something. I need something. He didn't get anything. So how you can claim, like certain people on this network, that United States is a superpower based on what? On $38 trillion worth of debts? What else?
So the problem isn't that the U.S. So the U.S. is still a superpower. The problem is that we have a leader that is a chump, and and that's where the problem is. The U.S. You're right, Sasha. We got nothing out of China. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He went over there and kowtowed. Oh yeah, we're gonna lower tariffs now on China. Why? Oh, because China said that they're gonna help with fentanyl. Yeah, okay, so that's what you got. That's really what you got. You got China claiming they're gonna help with fentanyl, and so now you're just gonna lower tariffs.
That's about all you got and everything like that. I do have a quick question for
that. It's not a behavior of a superpower to get nothing out of a meeting which was prepared for several weeks, if not months. And finally it's there, and he's got nothing, not single paper, not a communique, not a joint press conference or not joint press conference, nothing, absolutely nothing, plus nothing remains nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, nothing plus nothing equals nothing. Steve, I got a question for you, and we've only got a few more minutes to go and everything along those lines. But you're running for office and you're doing all these other kind of things. I'm sure that you know protocol, and apparently Trump doesn't know protocol, because one of the things that I meant to bring up yesterday is that he kind of like did not salute when he was supposed to salute, and he did a lot of other things when he was in Japan that were not outside of protocol. So I'm thinking, when you go to like your campaigns, do you like try to study protocol? Because I'm thinking most people have to know the protocol when they're going to a place, but apparently Trump doesn't care.
It's funny that you mentioned that. We've got a situation going on right now. Protocol is very important. Sometimes you got to read, there's gray areas, right? So, for example, I've been really low key about going to polls because this is the first year in 14 years that I'm out and about in the city elections. But there's one or two candidates, one in particular, that's really been upsetting people because she's there every day, just getting really aggressive and going in and really pushing herself, and it's really backfiring. So I think sometimes it's protocol in terms of how you carry yourself, making sure you're watching around. And I'm going to go today, but I'm just going to hang out with a few people I'm supporting, say hi, look relaxed. I'm not going to go out there unless someone asks me, hey, Steve, you're running for the commissioner office. So I think that's kind of thing. But yeah, Trump's thrown a lot of protocols out. I mean, hell, the West Wing of the White House was a really nice place, and he demolished it, saying he's going to create a ballroom. I mean, everything is just so unconventional. He's just disrupting traditional norms, which have been expected. And some people like it. I don't understand why, but anyway, yeah, protocol is important.
So I have a TV show recommendation on Netflix called The Diplomat, starring Kerry Russell from Felicity and from The Americans, and it's a great show because Kerry Russell plays the American ambassador to Great Britain who hates her job because of all the protocol. She's used to getting stuff done as a non-ambassador foreign service person, and she's pissed off all the time. There's all sorts of spy stuff going on. She gets made fun of because she doesn't wash her hair. Her hair is greasy. Usually the ambassador to Great Britain is somebody who donated $5 million to Trump or some shit, but she's actually like good at negotiating stuff. Anyway, the show is really kind of exciting and funny because you've got a character who hates all the bullshit.
Yeah, I mean,
that bullshit that goes on and everything.
You guys on Monday. Thank you for letting me come in, and it's like I said, I'm kind of pacing myself, moving a little slow today. Trying to give me a long day tomorrow, but looking forward to a good day. So, thank you.
Yeah,
Steve, I guess before you head out, Mark, if you can bring up the thing I'm trying to share, because this is kind of a funny thing about what we were just talking about. We were talking about when you said, I got to be or I'm white. It's pretty funny. But so, Mark, if you could bring that up.
I'm trying to bring it up, and it's
I
actually.
want you to be Indian. I'll be white, and then and I want you to be a black man.
Back down the backside, he might have to bring it up as well.
Someone's gonna get me. They're gonna get me as like a pseudo race.
All I have to do, if I go to the tanning,
don't roll this shit on Facebook, right? Oh my God, I just dropped it.
If I get a tan, I'm Hispanic. I can.
There we go.
Times in my life when I've been tan and lived in New Mexico, I was Latino.
There you go.
Remember the plan. 10 minutes in, 10 minutes out. You go for the vault, you're on security. From now on, we go by code names and wear these. You're Joe, I'm Donald, and you're Barack. Let's do it, guys.
This doesn't feel right.
What doesn't feel right?
It's different.
Or it doesn't fit properly?
He's black, and I'm white.
So?
I can't wear a black guy's face.
I didn't know you were racist.
Yeah, what the fuck?
It's because I'm not racist.
Yeah, that's a little bit racist.
No, I'm not racist. I just don't want to offend black people.
Why do you keep whispering black?
Because they could hear me. If I put on the mask and step outside, the cops are going to get me.
Jesus Christ, that's racist.
What, if I wear the mask, I've got to paint my whole self brown?
No one said you have to do that.
That's so awful. That's so offensive. And it's going to take forever.
Okay, I've got another mask. It's not black. Just wear this.
You're serious. It's Kim Jong-un. He's Asian, I think.
What do you mean?
I can't be going in there robbing a bank with an Asian accent. They're going to think I'm Asian and I'm not.
What accent?
You know. Give me your money.
You don't have to fucking do that.
I know. Fucking, I'm wearing the Barack mask.
This your car, mate? See?
I need to take a step outside the vehicle, all right? I'm white.
Remember the plan. 10 minutes in, 10 minutes out. You go.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty
wonderful.
funny.
That was good.
Thank you guys. Have a good weekend. Happy Halloween. I'm going to enjoy being a white man.
Thank
All right.
you. Yeah. I'm gonna be white, you be white, and we're gonna make money finally.
And on that note, we're all going to get out of here. That was funny and everything like that. Get on out of here.
All right. Good weekend, everybody. Enjoy the shutdown.
Yeah.